this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no one.
a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobuki. This is Kotobuki Jake, and we're here to show you what they got. Got a lot of stuff this week, a lot, and because there was so much that needed to be caught up on, I went ahead and I just said, you know what? Heck with it. We're just gonna cover the whole of it.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
There were only like 10 left when it was all done, so heck with it. Just
I was going to say, it looked like there wasn't a lot of chaff. You decided to do all of them, huh?
so we're just gonna do them all and just move on with it.
Woohoo!
And
Moving on. What?
let's do it live. But any case, there is one thing though. Out of all the stuff this week, no Gundam.
You are recording, right? Okay, I just didn't see anything. Okay, never mind.
Yep.
Okay.
So with that being said, let's take a look at what's cool in your neck of the woods. to go. And and
Nice little jam there.
you'll be leading us off. But first off, let's go to our board so that we can show everybody. If you're new here, we try to rate everything. Of course, we throw the slideshow, so if you just want to, check out what's releasing and dip, you're good to go. But we're going to rate everything as to how we look at it. So we got our rating scale of priority, which is, we're going to get it. Oh, yes, it will be mine. Oh, yes. It may take a while. And we may pay more than what we want to for it eventually, but it will be ours. Of course, on the bottom of the end is hell no, which means it'll never be in our collection. But if it sneaks into collection, we'll dig it right out and make it run away. We'll
No! No collection for you!
Of course, then there's Yes Please, which list we have a genuine interest in beyond that curiosity. We would like
a lot of those this week.
And then there is Curious, which we have a general curiosity of it. It looks like it might be interesting. We may be familiar with it, and it's one we like reasonably well, but not one that we feel like the need to wish list. And then there's Meh, which is we'd take it for free or maybe $1, but otherwise...
I'd buy that for $1.
Indeed.
As the wise man says.
Said the White Rabbit.
Yes.
So with that...
I'd buy that for more than $1.
We're going to go ahead and get started, and I'll let Jake start us off.
All right. And can they can't see the screen, or do they want to?
Let's see here. Oh, you can't see the screen.
Okay. I can.
But they can. So
Okay.
I'm going to do that so you can see the screen.
Okay.
But yeah, we're in OBS, so we're recording this. We're not really live.
Yeah. You can tell I'm on it tonight. So, speaking of being on it, we have got a movie series to lead us off. Since we're doing our show about Oscar nominations tonight, we're going to lead off with a series that the Academy absolutely fell all over themselves to ignore. And that is the series American Pie. Classic comedy, raunchy comedy series from 99, 2001, 2003, and 2009, I believe, were the release dates. It might have been, I think it might have been 2012 or something for the last one. So you had the original American Pie, which brings together Jim, Oz, Finch, Kevin, and their friend / nemesis Stifler, and a group of girls, the most awesome which is Michelle, in a bunch of high school hijinks. American Pie 2, which basically tried to do the same thing, but in college. It was pretty much the same thing, but in college. Then you had American Wedding, about Jim and Michelle's wedding, which was a wonderful movie that had some great moments, and Sean William Scott looking like he was over being Stifler, and unfortunately might have been better to sit that movie out. Although it did have some nice moments with him. And then American Reunion, which, considering that these characters are my age, the first movie came out when I was that age. Reunion came out when I was, it made me feel old, but it was good. It was good. And these four movies are, maybe not the second one so much, a classic series. It's kind of disappointing that we're getting individual releases and not a multi-pack. I would jump on a Blu-ray multi-pack of these collections here, but individually I can wait because I have them all on DVD and it wouldn't save that much space, but it would be nice to get them slimmed down, condensed. I think if I were to say, if you don't have them and you like modern comedies, American Pie, American Wedding, and American Reunion are yes, please, no question about it. I would almost say priority on American Pie. In fact, I'll say, but American Pie 2, I'd put it curious.
So, I am, and actually similar mine. We're not that far apart in age, and I was also kind of just at the end of high school. Actually, I was exactly there because I think I was at the very end of high school when was it 97 or 98 when the first one came out?
99 when the first one came out.
So yeah, I was just a little bit over their age. I was only like a couple of years over them. I was like, so it was very close to mine. American Reunion really hit home, especially with that Spice Girls line. I would say that.
Oh, I love classic rock.
and I do have them all on a Blu-ray set that they released, which I think is actually cheaper than each one of these individually.
Oh wow!
It has similar special features. So, with that being,
so I know all of these include the theatrical and unrated. Do they actually include good bonus features?
They include good bonus features.
Okay, well that's cool.
So, for me, I'll agree. American Pie is a priority. I think it is a must. American Reunion I'd actually put as a priority. It's also like a really good one. You can kind of skip the other two. They're really good films overall if you like that kind of thing. But is there? But since you've got it as yes, please, I will just leave them where they are at this time.
Well, again, I put number 2. I put the second one in More Curious. And that was mainly because I tried so hard to copy the original. I didn't think it was that original.
Okay.
But it did have some great moments to it.
I consider it a yes, please.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not such a big deal to do the same thing multiple times if you do it well.
Right.
Same
and
thing
they
can be
mostly
said
did.
with the Hangover trilogy, for instance.
I still need to see the second one. I've seen the first and third, but not the second one.
Well, let's talk about something else here. This double pack here called Blitzkrieg, Escape from Stalag 69, and The Blood Ape. Such a lovely looking special feature here. As you can see, this looks like it would be very fun. I would actually watch these films. 400 pounds of fury hungry for female flesh. This looks like something that Dave would be into here. The Bloody Ape is the most outrageous drive-in movie take on Poe's murders in the Rue Morgue ever committed to film. Oh, yeah, I will agree. A carnival baker foolishly releases his 400-pound gorilla, who then literally goes bananas on a rampage of raw rape and buffo butchery, leaving the low-rent population of Long Island either sexually violated, slaughtered, or both.
Oh, God.
Okay.
I shouldn't be laughing. Oh.
And the other one's a Eurotrash Nazi exploitation subgenre film of the 1970s. Okay. So, stuff like this always has me curious. I ain't buying it for $40. But if I saw it for like $10 somewhere in a bin, I might pick this up. Just because it would be like fun. Maybe even 14 on a good day. I might see this and go like, okay. Especially with that explanation, because the 70s, I can't imagine anything in the 70s being that with the description of the ape anyway. I just imagine this dude in a gorilla suit going around and humping people from behind. Like Psycho Ape.
I guess it depends on how much they get into the gore in that one. But both of those, that one, there are some trigger words that turn me off on both of those. I don't know that I want to go hell no, because the basic idea has some so absurd it's great vibes to it. But I'm going to go meh, and it's a very weak meh. I may regret giving it that much.
Yeah, somebody gave it to you.
I may regret giving it that much.
We'll be covering it on the
Okay.
show later on.
I can imagine, yes. That second one sounded like it was right up Dane's alley. I don't know. Okay, The Beguiled, a movie that would be just as horrifying to some people, maybe the same people that enjoyed those. So we have Sofia Coppola's take on a film once starring Clint Eastwood, but not this version. This version starred Nicole Kidman, and I want to say, is that Elle Fanning and Colin Farrell, Kirsten Dunst. And like I said, it's a Sofia Coppola directed film about basically a convalescence home in Civil War era Virginia, if you will. Well, not really a convalescence home, but a wounded soldier's brought in. I still haven't seen the original with Clint Eastwood. I've heard it's a very different film. This version, it's good. It's gorgeous. The attention to production in this film, costumes, the camera work, the acting is solid. It's a well-made film. You'd expect nothing less from Sofia Coppola. But of the handful of her films I've seen, I see right there Lost in Translation. Loved Lost in Translation. Did not feel that love for The Beguiled. I was not beguiled. Let's put it that way. I'm tempted to say yes, please, because it was Sofia Coppola and she's awesome. But really, honestly, on its own merits, it's no more than curious for me.
Was it filmed in Virginia?
I don't think it was. Maybe a few scenes, but mostly it wasn't.
Let's see here. Hold on.
Actually, I looked up on IMDb. Let's see where the filming
where it
locations
was.
were.
That'll determine.
Louisiana. Yeah, so that's part of the problem. It's set in Virginia, but it's filmed in Louisiana. I'm like,
All right.
no, no.
With that being said, if it was filmed in Virginia, I would have left it a little curious. But
Right.
I'm sorry, unless I've seen it, this thing sounds like it's going to be a very boring film. And since they have the audacity to film it in Louisiana and call it Virginia, man.
Yeah. It does lose points for filming in Louisiana, yes.
Well, now an interesting particular one. An anime is going out. I'll show it in both the regular and the premium edition. There is this Bow Fury. I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. And this is season 1. It's another one of those type.
Yes. Yet another in that long line of long titles.
So, another one of these kind of fantasy ones that kind of play right alongside the Isekai genre. I don't have much to say about it. Maple doesn't want to experience pain in the VR MMO game she started playing, so she puts all her skill points into defense until she can't even move. Somehow it works better than anyone expected. Now she's got followers. This kind of has an isekai quality to it, and
Right.
I'm getting tired of the oversaturation of the market. But it looks entertaining enough. I mean, I like the whole like she got the armor on, and it looks like it would be entertaining. I probably would enjoy it overall. I mean, this is the collector, like the little collector set that they're releasing.
Nice looking set. Yeah.
So it might be worth it.
Funimation.
So I mean, they put a little bit more into it than they normally do. But until I really see it, I can't really give it anything more than a curious.
I am definitely curious about this. I'm a little bit over the isekai. I'm very much over the why is the title so friggin' long? I'm very much over that. But it's a really cool looking set, so I will definitely give that a strong curious. If it comes down to around $20, I'd snap that up.
I mean, hey, maybe on one of those like sales they do later on, like a year or so from now, it's like $10.
I will not get it for 68. I can guarantee you that.
Oh hell no.
Yeah. Okay, I will not get this for 68 either, but luckily they're not asking that much. So a movie that definitely had some Oscar love was Billy Elliot, and I enjoyed that movie. That was a fun little movie, sort of one of those kind of feel-good family drama sort of things that is about this kid who I think is from the English coal mining district, and like his whole family is all about him being like a manly man and all that stuff, but he wants to be a dancer. And you've got it was nominated for director, best original screenplay, and supporting actress for Julie Walters. Jamie Bell. This was kind of where Jamie Bell hit the map in a big way in this role. So it's a really good, and Gary Lewis was excellent as his father. It's a really good movie. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of uplifting, it came out the exact same year as what I consider the counterpoint was Girl Fight. It's kind of funny that you had those two the same year. And they were both excellent. If they were getting simultaneous re-releases, that'd be so awesome. But this is one as well that I have on DVD, and I wouldn't mind upgrading to Blu-ray if only to save space. I wouldn't rush out to do that. But I would say if you don't have Billy Elliot, it is a strong yes, please. Maybe not a priority. You don't have to beat down the door at your local store to get it. But it's a solid yes, please. I would say that.
I haven't seen it. It's got an intriguing plot line. I'm not sure I can go yes, please without seeing it first. So I'll put it in there in the curious. It's an Oscar nom, but not an Oscar winner.
Yeah. It was actually one of those movies where they were kind of surprised when it didn't win anything because there was so much buzz, but
Well, and another one which obviously an Oscar winning film.
Obviously.
From the creators of Bone Tomahawk comes Castle.
I need to watch my copy.
And so after she's prematurely blinded in a tragic car accident, Rebecca receives some bizarre news. Her long-lost mother has recently passed away, leaving her family's ancestral castle. Traveling to the estate with a group of friends, Rebecca hopes it will be an opportunity for her to reconnect with the past she never knew, and a mother who seemingly left her behind. When strange and unexpected things start happening and her friends begin to die, Rebecca must unravel her family's mysterious history before she falls prey to the castle freak.
Ooh.
So, Bone Tomahawk was good. And it's got me... and I have heard this in circles multiple times as a really good film. It's one I've been meaning to add to my wish list, as a matter of fact. So why don't I do that right now? But yes, this is one that has been on my list for a while. I do want to see it really badly. I don't know if I can put it... I guess I could put it on Yes Please because I put it on my wish list. Yeah, why not? I'll put it on Yes Please just because I know it will be dragged down.
What gave you that impression? I gotta say, based on what I heard in circles, if you will, from the people behind Bone Tomahawk, well, not from them, but about them, their stuff, I've heard it gets pretty brutal, and that's apparently part of the appeal. Mm-hmm. And that definitely cancels much of the appeal this film would have for me. If I thought it was more creepy, spooky, and less on the brutality, I would be interested. But I have a feeling it's going to go the other way, so I'm going to go meh on that one.
All right, right there in the middle now.
Okay.
All right.
So, the Book of Job. Huh?
It's a Coen Brothers film.
It could be. Well, no, it's not. But it's like a remake of a Coen Brothers film. Well, okay, so the Book of Job is about a high school student who has trouble separating reality from fiction. Young Job falls madly in love with a new girl who catches his eye one Sunday Mass. In the midst of his conforming to what he believes to be her idealized standards, he realizes his life is about so much more than simply himself. Okay, written and directed by Andrew O. Mostly a cast of people I'm not particularly familiar with. This one kind of caught my interest. Apparently, the original title was My Buddy Roberto, referencing Roberto Rossellini, heavily influenced by films of Ingrid Bergman and Roberto Rossellini, or at least the early drafts. So that, I don't know if that sounds all that Coen-esque or not. It sounds odd. It sounds interesting. It sounded like one I had to pick just to annoy you because of the fact you could not think of a serious man.
Yeah.
But I'm going to leave it at curious, personally.
Especially with it being a Gravitas release, and God,
right,
expensive.
What's it going for right now?
38 to 40.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think either one of us is buying it at that price, but all right. So, Dark Web, Cicada 3301.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is an interesting looking film. I had been perusing over it again and again, just to see it. I don't know anything about it, and I'm not looking up the description for it, so give it. But it's about a hacker group, and it is a thriller. That much I do know. And it has the potential to be decent, has the potential to be not good. So it's a very low curious.
Well, I kind of passed this one over when I first saw it, and I think I have enough curiosity to leave it at a low curious. It's kind of on the border with meh, but I'll be generous. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cool looking. That's always a plus.
Meanwhile, we got some people who are watching that this is their favorite film of all time, and they're just like, how dare you?
Yes.
You should have been.
Or at least their favorite film of all time that came out in 2020.
Hey, it might be. There's got to be at least one person that saw this and it's their favorite film of all time. I bet you.
Right. I'm sure. I saw on IMDb someone called it brilliant. So is this me?
Yep.
I didn't realize I was covering this one. Anyway, so Brothers by Blood, a.k.a. The Sound of Philadelphia. I prefer The Streets of Philadelphia. That was a good song. So Brothers by Blood. I know it has Joel Kinnaman in it and Matthias Schoenaerts. And you've got some other folks as well. Paul Schneider, Ryan Felipe, etc., etc. A tale of family, friendships, and betrayal in the violent world of the Philadelphia mob. Yeah, that's about all there is to it. Mobster drama. Amazon says boring, and they say bad movie, and refreshingly unique story, great acting. So a little bit of disconnect in the reviews there. I personally, I was I actually originally had it on my list, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't mean to have that on my list.
That's why it's on your list.
I'm going to go meh. It's a high meh, but it's a meh.
Okay, I'm looking at this Amazon. It's like, good grief, what a slow, actionless movie. I wish I could get my time back in the time back.
That's how I felt in Run All Night.
Let's see. See, this movie not only is dumb as hell with no plot. I actually paid to watch it. It started out slow.
Oh, I feel you.
Slower, with nowhere to go because it had no plot. I kept waiting for something to happen, and suddenly it was over. If COVID is a reason to give movie makers license to everyone, this is a perfect example of a bad movie.
Okay, I'm not sure what that sentence meant, but anyway.
Yeah,
are we ready?
yeah, I think I'll leave it at meh. I'd watch it if someone gave it to me.
Yeah, exactly. I might get it for $1, you know.
So this one
lovely.
actually got me curious. I've heard of this one.
I bet it did.
Which is a trauma film. And trauma is usually got some pretty good stuff to it there. A Hetty Moore film. All dolled up and ready to kill. Dolly Deadly is an original gore fest that brings something new to the child killer subgenre. All right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this looks like it would be right up your alley over here.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's see, a young boy from a trailer park can't take another moment of ridicule from his family and peers. With the support of his beloved dollies, he sets out for blood. So, you know, this one is probably going to be dragged down a bit by my co-host here. But I can't really... It's a trauma movie, and it's always a crapshoot whether they'll stay in print or not. I want this, but do I want it enough to say it's a yes, please? No, it's a high curious, unfortunately. I just can't.
Okay. Being a trauma movie puts it in a awkward position where I'm concerned. One, I've heard so much about trauma that I kind of want to support them on principle. But also I've heard so much about trauma that every one of their films terrifies me until I see it. And this is no exception. I want to say hell no, but I don't want to at the same time. I'll be generous and give it a very low meh.
All right.
I'm sure it'll come up one day in group. Okay, this is more my speed, you know.
Much
nice,
gorier.
cheerful. What's that?
A much gorier film in every way.
Oh yeah, don't be fooled by the cheerful, innocent cover. No, this is we're getting a couple of re-releases of Studio Ghibli films this week, courtesy G Kids, and I'm pretty sure Shout is involved as well. They seem to be with most of these releases. They're continuing with the Steelbook releases of Ghibli films that are frankly kind of mundane looking. I'm kind of disappointed at the style they're going for, but still, Steelbook is Steelbook, and The Cat Returns is a fun film. It's a lesser Ghibli film, sort of a spin-off of one of their great films, A Whisper of the Heart, but this one is, even though it's a lesser Ghibli film, it's still a lot of fun, and it's really good. And the English dub, of course, has Carrie Ells as the Baron, which is a fun character. I'm pretty sure they have that dub track on this release, right?
They should. I think this one.
Yeah,
they've had a decent number of features on
right.
some of these.
Right.
I guess so. Must be. I would
Yeah.
imagine. I would imagine.
Yeah. So at any rate, and it's one of their few not directed by one of their marquee directors. Hiroyuki Morita is not necessarily one of their main directors, but Cat Returns, I cannot give it a priority status, but like any other Ghibli film, I would definitely say it's at least a yes, please.
Yeah, I'm so conflicted about these particular ones, and I gotta. There we go. I don't really like the minimal nature of the covers.
Right.
I feel like if I want to get one, I should be getting them all, and I've already got all of them. I've already got the majority of the Ghibli films that I want on Blu-ray. Oh wait, you put this down. But at the same time, I don't have this one on Blu-ray. Though I'm not sure I want to pay to get this version. I don't really like the cover. I need to go through all my Ghibli films to see which ones I need to upgrade to Blu-ray. I've got most of them upgraded. And it's one of those that I could do as just a straight upgrade. But
Right.
I would say yes, please, is a definite for any of these films. This is probably one of the... This is probably on the lower end as far as the Ghibli films are concerned. Of course, that's like saying the low end of Pixar, you know?
Exactly.
It's still good. It's just...
Yeah. I mean, A Bug's Life is still a solid film as animated films go, but even just generally, it's not bad.
I mean, shoot, I didn't even pre-order this version of the Earwig and the Witch, which is coming out at the same time as the film releases, because again, it seems like something that you would want if you were going to try to get the whole set.
Right.
Like, I keep passing Castle in the Sky, and trust me, if I was going to get any of these on that, it would be Castle in the Sky.
Right.
Speaking of must own,
Or nice looking sets.
The Dungeon of Andy Milligan Collection, a 9-disc Blu-ray /CD box set. Now, this is being released through Severin. It may get a wider release later. It may not. As you can see, it's got some... I mean, it is a very, very nice set. You got like the Ghastly Ones, Legacy of Blood, Bloodthirsty Butchers, Carnage, plus 10 additional movies. And all. I mean, look at all of that stuff that you get in there. And there they all are. The rats are coming. The werewolves are here. Vapors, The Body Beneath, Tortured Dungeon, Nightbirds, The Man with Two Heads. I have that one, oddly enough. Guru, The Mad Monk, Seeds, Bloodthirsty Butchers, Legacy of Blood, Flesh Pot, and Carnage. So, you know, I mean, I love the way this looks. And as a fan of cinema in general, I do like these types of things. But I don't have the interest level to jump in on this. Not at $190. And
I thought it was under 40.
Let me see. Let me double check again. I thought it was 190. But we'll see. We're gonna go away. 140. Never mind.
There you go.
Even 140.
There you go.
Even with that discount that just happened.
That's a heck of a discount.
I don't think I would grab this, and it probably is going to go out of print very quickly. But I know that there are people that would like it. That's why I posted it in our group, because I know that there are people who probably want to jump in on this. So it's more of a curious on my end.
Okay.
I know at least The Man with Two Heads, that one was not too bad blood-wise.
Right. I have to admit, based on the very little I know about most of those films, that my interest level in actually seeing any of them is very small, if not non-existent. However, it is a very nice looking set, and it is a Severin release. So I'd buy that for $1. I might even go $5. So yeah, I'll put it in the meh category.
The other people in the group are like, well, how dare you?
No, the other people in the group would be like, you got that for $1?
Yeah.
How much you want? I'll be like, 80. Like, hey, 80 would still be a heck of a discount.
Yes, it would.
Okay, next up. This is a little more my speed, I think. I haven't actually seen it. But this is a movie called Crossfire. Came out back in the day, 1947, actually, way back in the day. Directed by Edward Dmytryk and nominated for 5 Oscars. Best Picture, Adapted Screenplay, Director, Supporting Actress for Gloria Graham, and Supporting Actor for Robert Ryan. You've also got a cast, including, I believe it was Robert Mitchum is in there, Robert Young. You got, some other pretty well-known bit players from back in the day. Basically, a man is murdered, apparently by one of a group of demobilized soldiers he met in a bar. But which one and why? So, sort of a film noir, drama, thriller. Okay, so all of that adds up to, this sounds like a pretty good movie I want to see. And given its Oscar pedigree, it's one I've got to have eventually. So I would give that a solid yes, please.
Okay, well, it didn't win, so I'm not obligated. Nope. And noirs, I have yet to see a noir film that has not bored me at some level. Maybe I just haven't seen the right one. But at the same time, I cannot deny the pedigree, so I will leave it as a curious.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
So next up, Exodus.
Okay.
I kind of like that cover there. That's kind of a cool looking cover.
Kind of reminds me of Dark Tower sort of deal,
That's what I was thinking there, because you got sort of like a post-apocalyptic kind of background there and the door. So maybe, here. So in post-rapture world, one of those, Connor, an enforcer who prevents defections from the struggling populace, discovers a VHS tape that proves the existence of a portal to paradise. A chance encounter with a captured AWOL citizen inspires him to reconsider his allegiance to the town. Leaving behind his sick brother, he chooses to defect from his decaying hometown and its authoritarian regime to chase his visions of the door. Relying on a tracker, he prophetic dreams, and
I should have relied on a better editor here.
and his gut. Connor makes it into the lawless countryside before being captured by his hometown's best hunter, the Superior. Man, they give me the entire plot of the darned film. It's just like,
I know.
I think I'm going to stop. And it seems like I've already hit all the spoilers. So I guess since I've already
You say that, but I'll bet all that happens in the first 5 minutes.
So, it's a Gravitas release. $14.99.
Which explains the $15 Blu-ray and the $46
Yeah. There's a part of me that would almost get this just so I could have a Gravitas release film in my collection.
Right. Yes.
This one is a curious. The religious left behind type thing is... But I do love the imagery, and that's and the fact that I could get a Gravitas film for that cheap also kind of leaves me going,
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So,
okay. Next up, we have Death, which features David Tennant as a serial killer, which, is what we all expect David Tennant to star as, isn't it? He a TV miniseries about a Scottish serial killer, Dennis Nilsson, who was arrested in 1983 after the discovery of human remains which blocked a drain near his London home. So you have David Tennant, Daniel Mays. I can't pretend to know most of the cast. They're vaguely familiar to me. But I've heard very little about this, but what I've heard has been positive. It has a high rating on IMDb. It's a 3-episode series, apparently, not super long at all. It certainly has my curiosity. I'd go high curious.
Okay, I'll see you low curious.
Okay.
We'll move on. Flower and the Snake. This looks like
Anatoly.
so a nice little Asian film there, which you can tell by the cover where that falls typically. Based on Oniroku Dan's famous Japanese novel Flower and Snake is the first nikatsu erotic film to deal with the subject of sadomasochism. Makoto is a sexually suppressed man living with his mother, Mio, who owns an adult toy store. When he was a child, Makoto remembers shooting a soldier whom he found having sex with his mother. The elderly man who owns the company Makoto works for has an interest in BDSM and wants Makoto to kidnap and train his wife to submit to him. With Makoto battling the demons of his past and unsure of the consequences of his own sexual awakening, what transpires is one of the most shocking, perverse, and jaw-dropping nikatsu films ever made. Yep, indeed.
For kids.
Tell you the truth, I kind of just put this on here as filler, and I'm not all into that stuff, so meh. But that's me.
I'm more low curious on this one. Certain elements of it caught my attention, and certain elements of it are like, I don't know if I'd enjoy that. So I'm on the border between curious and meh. So there we go.
Yeah, it goes to meh.
Yeah. So next up, we have Darwin's Game, which is another funny release, I believe, right? Not a bad-looking set itself. I remember reading up on this, but I don't remember what I read. Okay, so he tries an app called Darwin's Game. So another Isekai! Yeah! And this one doesn't sound as interesting as... Oh, wait, no, this is getting an Aniplex
Yeah, I think
release.
it's $119. I don't know.
Woo, boy.
For 11 episodes.
All the more reason to want it, right?
God.
Okay, now all the more reason. If I could get this for $20, I would snap it up. But I ain't paying that for it. ain't happening. I'm gonna give that a curious, but it's a lower than the other one.
Yeah, I can give it a low curious. Considering it's Aniplex, it'll probably go out of print before it'll be low enough for me to be more than curious.
Yep.
All right. So, one of two Marty Feldman films being released this week. Mm-hmm. Since you got the two Aniplexes, I had no qualms in grabbing the two Marty Feldman ones.
Okay, sounds good.
So, In God We Trust, a.k.a. In God We Trust with a little dollar sign with the S. And,
or per IMDb, In God We Trust, or Give Me That Primetime Religion.
So, co-written and directed and starring Marty Feldman, In God We Trust is an audacious and comedic look at organized religion. Brother Ambrose is set on a quest to come up with $5,000 to save his monastery. He travels to Los Angeles where he meets a con man, played by Peter Boyle, a prostitute, played by Louise Tasser, no, Laser, yeah, and a shady televangelist, played by Andy Kaufman. Right there, you got the chops right there to make it interesting.
Armageddon T. Thunderbird. What a name.
So, I'm looking at this, and I need
Not to
more.
mention Richard Pryor as G.O.D.
I mean, to me, I need more Marty Feldman films. Of course, Kino's releasing it, so I have time, and there will be a sale, and I will probably get it once it's on that sale. So, with that being said, that's the very definition of a yes, please. Almost a priority, almost. But definitely a yes, please for me, because I will get this eventually. It's on my radar. I mean, I may not have to have it, but I really want to have it.
I feel like this is one I was aware of, but like vaguely, you know what I mean? I mean, I know Feldman more than anything else from Young Frankenstein, and I really would like to see some more. The cast in this is just incredible, and I do like me a good religious satire. So
Sherlock Holmes' smarter brother as well. He was paying the side.
oh yeah, he is in that. Yeah, which I believe is also a Kino Lorber release, and I need to watch my copy. And as I've said before, I have become something of a fan of Kino Lorber releases, and I do look for their sales, and occasionally those are excellent opportunities. If this goes on sale at just the right price, I probably will jump on it. It is one that I see as I want to get that. So let's go with yes, please.
It's just so amusing. I mean, just the title and the subject matter, and I want to see that that Andy Kaufman preacher.
Right. I mean, again, I just love that Armageddon T. Thunderbird. What a name!
And I know one that you're totally interested in.
This one here.
Obviously.
This one I didn't really grab me, but it almost did. So we have one called Don't Tell a Soul, which came out, I guess, right tail end of the year. Two thieving teenage brothers stealing money to help their sick mom match wits with a troubled security guard stuck at the bottom of a forgotten well.
As you do.
So you have Fionn Whitehead and Jack Dylan Grazer starring with Mena Suvari and Rainn Wilson. So, if you wanted to see what happened when, what was her name, Vicky from American Pie, ended up growing up and apparently somehow ended up in a movie with Dwight from The Office. I mean, that's an interesting concept there. This looks like a movie that could be intriguing or it could be pretty bad. And what I'm seeing on this IMDb page leads me to believe I would not have reason to consider this a priority. But I'm weakly curious. Like, I'm right on the border between curious and meh.
I'm about mid-curious on it. Looks interesting.
Okay. We'll go with curious then.
All right, so we get a 2-pack from Arrow.
So you slipped that in between two of the ones I wanted to do.
The Invisible Man appears in The Invisible Man versus the Human Fly. Also, if you want to buy them... I didn't
realize it was a 2-pack.
Yep, and if you want to buy them separate, you can do that as well. So yes, and 40 is not too bad for two of these. These are kind of classic films. With The Invisible Man outside of Japan for the first time. So, which is a riff on of course, the H.G. Wells character.
Right.
Let's see here. Let's see. The Invisible Man appears, written and directed by Nobuo Adachi in 1949. And 8 years later, Mitsuo Murayama, is exciting Invisible Man versus the Human Fly, tells a story of a series of mysterious murders where the only clue is a strange buzzing noise. I mean, it looks like it would be some fun. It's some early workout on Japanese special effects, which is known as let's see here. What is that word that they used? Tokusatsu, which which is utilized to more gory extent later on in life, but not so much here. So it is very intriguing for me. Almost a yes, please, but I can't quite go there. But I am very curious, like very strongly curious for this.
Okay, I'm curious too. I consider most Arrow stuff worth a look unless I know it's something I couldn't necessarily do.
And it's early Japanese cinema.
I do give them, huh?
Yeah, it's early Japanese cinema too.
I was going to say I do give them a lot of props. I could be wrong about this, but I'm of the impression that Arrow is one of the primary importers for the UK of Asian cinema. And they do occasionally make it available across the pond. I guess it looks like this version is.
Yep.
It doesn't have that little logo that would say otherwise, but
yeah, more than likely, if you're ordering off of Amazon, if it doesn't have that logo on
that means nothing when it comes to... Oh, okay, if it doesn't have the logo, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah.
The only times... Have you ever ordered it when it doesn't have the logo off of Amazon, not off of Arrow?
I can't recall that I have.
Because I know that you've had it happen, but only when you've ordered it straight from Arrow.
I think the only one I ordered from Amazon was Departures, and that one did turn out to be a British copy. Yeah. Ugh, that was annoying. Anyway.
Always look for that symbol at the bottom.
Okay, so this one, we've heard of this movie, Driving Miss Daisy. Morgan Freeman, Jessica Tandy, and Dan Aykroyd, based on a play. Best Picture winner at the Oscars. And interesting timing here, because just a few days ago, I read an article on Collider where they ranked all the Best Picture winners through the years in order from least deserving to best. Guess what they ranked as the least deserving winner ever?
Green Book.
Nope. Green Book 89. Just Driving Miss Daisy.
Yes.
Green Book was about 5 or 6 places up the list from this one. This one, he didn't hold back. I've never heard anyone trash talk this movie the way this dude did. And I was like, holy crap, I didn't know anyone hated that movie, but I guess it makes sense in a lot of ways. This is not a film that has aged as well as we would like to think.
The concept of what would have been considered a racially woke movie by the Oscars then.
Back then.
And what should have... well, actually, it seems like it is the same thing now because Green Book won that year.
Yes, exactly. That's one of the reasons why Green Book should rank lower on the list, but whatever. But at any rate, I haven't seen this movie for years. I remembered enjoying it. It does have wonderful performances. Yeah. Freeman and Tandy are great. And it's worth a look, I think, if only to see how opinions and wokeness, if you will, have changed over the years. Yeah. It's definitely worth a place in history. It's worth a place in the collection. As a Best Picture winner, it has to be at least a yes, please in my book. I'm going to give it a yes, please, but with a little bit of an asterisk that some people may not think it aged as well as other people did.
I'm going to leave it at yes, please, because I have to. And also because I want to. Driving Miss Daisy was an excellently executed film, very well acted and very well done in many areas. It did deserve its Best Picture win at the time.
I would say Dead Poet Society deserved it that year, but
again, I feel like it had a lot of good things. Again, a lot of it's about sensibilities that change over time.
Right.
What is considered a great film and not racist at one point in time, it could be considered very racist at another point in time. The only thing that I would consider is that it might not be a bad idea to secure a copy, because you never know when somebody might come for this and say this is too offensive to allow people to see. So,
and if nothing else, you can never go wrong with the argument. Well, I'm going to say you cannot go wrong with the argument that any movie with Morgan Freeman is usually better for having Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, probably. But again,
some people would argue with that. But
again, take it as a point of history, understanding how people think in one place, and plus, it doesn't hurt to watch some amazing acting at the same time.
Right.
So, with that being said, we move on. Speaking of movies that should have won the Oscars, the last remake
look at this cast,
of Beguiled, the other Marty Feldman film released through Kino. You got Marty Feldman and Margaret, Michael York, Peter Ustinov, James Earl Jones, Trevor Howard, Henry Gibson, and Terry Thomas. So you got some amazing stuff going on here. This one, it's a spoof to end all spoofs. As a comedy legend, Marty Feldman shatters the Gary Cooper French Foreign Legion classic in the last remake of Beguiled. Set in England and Morocco in 1906, Feldman's remake mocks all the do-or-die extravaganzas well known and loved as he portrays Digby, identical twin brother to Michael York's stalwart Beguiled. I'm very curious about this one. Actually, I'll probably take this one also up to a yes, please, because it will be. As a matter of fact, I'm going to wish list this now just to show where I'm at for this. What I want to do with this, I want to catch this on a Kino sale, and then I want to. I've got the other movie, so what I want to do is I want to pair them, and I want to do a back-to-back night, watching this one as the follow-up, just because that just seems like it would be a great follow-up to the film.
you know what would happen though? When you get this movie, like the day it arrives in your collection and you're ready for that to happen, they'll announce there'll be a new remake of
Yes. The only issues with these films, especially when we're talking about like In God We Trust, with Andy Kaufman, stuff like that, I can almost guarantee that neither one of these, there will be something in it that will not hold up to modern day sensibilities.
Oh, I can tell that just looking at the cast. Ed McMahon is cast as an Arab, apparently.
Yep. So again,
I am intrigued. Yeah. I am intrigued about a James Earl Jones performance that came out the year that Star Wars came out. That's intriguing. I will give this a weak yes, please. I want to see it. I don't want to see it as badly as the other one, but I would get it on a Kino sale.
I like this. They get all three of them for $54.
Yeah. That's not too bad, I guess.
There we go.
You gave me this one?
Yes.
Ugh. Okay, I Am Lista is a werewolf movie. I know that much. And I also know I looked at it and said, no, I'm not interested. But let's see. Yeah. A sadistic small-town sheriff and her underlings brutalize Lisa and leave her for dead in the woods. Bitten by a werewolf and bestowed by supernatural abilities, can Lisa retain her humanity as she exacts revenge? 3.9 rating on IMDb.
Heck yeah, awesome.
Yeah. I'm not going to say hell no because there is potential for good in werewolf films. There's potential for good in revenge films. There could be a good revenge werewolf film, but there's also the potential that this could be a Me Too era Brotherhood of the Wolf, and that's just a horrifying thought on several levels. For those who don't know, I absolutely hated Brotherhood of the Wolf, and I know some people will think you're crazy for saying that. But anyway, without more information, I'm not going to say hell no, but without more information, I'm a strong meh on this one.
Well, I'm more curious on it, but that'll stay what it is. All right. Moving right along. All right, so one of the favorites here, to go along with your Avatar Steelbook collection, if you got it.
I still need to get.
I would love to get these. They're too expensive for me, but this is and they take up too much freaking space. Legend of Korra is getting a complete.
But they look cool.
And just when they've announced that they're going to do a new Avatar animated film. So that's going to be interesting. Or miniseries. I can't remember what it was, but they're going to do another continuation of it because everything old is new again. But again, I really love the look of these. I've seen one of these. I saw the other one up close, and it is beautiful. And this one looks like it's just as beautiful. I would love to have these in my house. And it is. I have not seen all the way through Korra, but I've seen 2/3 of the way, and it is a spectacular series. It is every bit as good as the original series, which is also a must. So if I'm going to go with that, and if I didn't have it already, I would say this is a priority. That says how awesome the series is.
I unfortunately have only seen 2 or 3 episodes of this, but I have seen all of Avatar. And I agree that this was a solid one from what I saw, and Avatar is friggin' awesome. And the old school set is just nowhere near as gorgeous as this set. I have it. I don't need to get this, and I can't prioritize it at that price. But hell, if I found that for $50, I'd get it. If I found it for less, definitely.
If you didn't have it and you needed a series and it was of a...
If I didn't, my cap would probably be in the $60 range because I'm sorry, 90 is just too much. But if I didn't have it, that Steelbook set is pretty gorgeous. It would, especially, I want to get the Steelbook of Avatar as well, and they would look so cool together. They would. But as a series overall, it is borderline priority. But I'll go ahead and give it that.
And I remember seeing the Avatar Steelbook. It's still in print, by the way.
Right.
They did not do a limited printing of that, thank God. But yeah, it's $71, which is not terrible, actually.
It's a little less, yeah.
Yeah, so it probably can fall price-wise.
Right.
There's that Justice
I'm still willing to wait a bit. Yep. Okay, what we got? Okay, Joan of Arc. I wonder how many of these there are at this point.
A lot. It was hard to find this one.
I believe it's a 2019 release. Again, there are so many Joan of Arcs out there, but yeah, 2019 release. I believe it is an actual legit French film. called Jeanne. And it supposedly is the second after Jeanette, the childhood of Joan of Arc. So it's like a two-part series. So I don't have the first one and I haven't seen it. So that cuts down slightly on the priority level. Honestly, I'm not sure that I would give it much of a priority regardless. I'm certainly curious, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, let's see. Yep, I'd say curious. I mean, I'd have to see it before I would actually give it anything more. Maybe if it was like getting like an Oscar nomination, then maybe an Oscar or something, but maybe. But,
given something coming up shortly, I'll comment then. Go ahead.
But, yeah, curious. All right, so another one I'm ecstatically waiting for. Money Plane is coming out with Adam Copeland, Denise Richards, Kelsey Grammer, which I know that'll push your interest right there, and Thomas Jane.
So you got Frasier, the Punisher, and the chick from Wild Things. I mean, that's not bad.
That's an interesting review here. Money Plane is the only thing that will give you joy in 2020. Has the hysterical boil of a news cycle and the pressure cooker of quarantine slowly drain the vast vestiges of happiness and optimism out of you. Money Plane will give you comfort.
And the next one says, worst movie I've ever paid to view.
It should be criminal to charge people to see this movie. Viewers should be paid compensation for watching this movie. Boy, giving those, I don't know. It looks like an interesting.
Given those choices, I look at those and I'd be like, I'm with you fellas.
So I'm going to give it a curious because it looks interesting, if anything.
A little curious. I would definitely buy that at the Dollar Tree, but I might even give more for her. Okay, so Journey into Fear. Who was releasing this? Was this a Kino release? I think it might have been.
Let's see. It is a Dark Force Entertainment release.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was some interesting. It's an interesting cover, anyway. 1975 thriller. An American geologist accidentally discovers oil in Turkish mountains. An assassin is sent by someone to eliminate him because of that. He boards a passenger boat to try to escape. However, one of the passengers is the assassin.
Dun, dun, dun.
So you have Sam Waterston and Zero Mostel. How's that for a pairing? You also have Ian McShane and Shelley Winters, Donald Pleasance, Vincent Price. I mean, just on the cast alone, this looks like it would be worth looking at. But honestly, the cast is the main thing this has working for it. I have only a middling interest in it beyond that, but the cast is enough to make me go, I'm curious.
I'm on that and curious end myself. I mean, I'll admit, usually the cast doesn't boost me too far up, but in this case, at least it leaves me at it. It was on the borderline before, and the cast kind of boosted it up just enough, especially with Vincent Price. I mean, that's an interesting.
It was kind of like that with Money Plane too, but this one has much more wattage to it.
So another classic is getting a $20 re-release. Notting Hill, which you can get pretty cheaply under most circumstances. There it is. And but if you want to pay $20 for a Blu-ray only release, you can get this Hugh Grant, Julia Roberts romantic comedy classic in your collection. Now, I do think that it is, for Hugh Grant fans especially, this is a must-own. It is one of his best when it comes to romantic comedies, and probably one of his best known. I would say this one, in and of itself, is a yes, please.
Also known as the movie that the world will always remember for Rhys Ifans and his skivvies. I mean,
Yeah.
and Richard Curtis as well. It's written by Richard Curtis, who would go on to either bless us or inflict pain and fear into us, depending on which camp you fall into with Love Actually. I'm on the border with Notting Hill. I'm on the border between Curious and Yes Please. I don't know that I consider it a priority, but it certainly is a good film. I'll be generous and say Yes Please.
I was gonna say, if you didn't have it already, I'm sure you have.
Yeah,
But if you didn't
it
have
is
it
an
already,
essential. It is an essential for him.
so-
Okay, now here is my callback to Jeanne d'Arc. So, Magia Record is, I believe, the second anime original Puella Magi Madoka Magica story. And yet they've done like 5 different spin-off manga, including one centered on Jeanne d'Arc called Puella Magi Tarte Magica. And none of those have gotten anime yet, but they did another original story. It's kind of weird. It's like the original anime wasn't an original, and then they spun the manga off of it. And yeah, whatever. I've actually read most of the manga, and they're pretty darn good. And the original series is a flipping classic. It's one of the best. If Aniplex was not freaking releasing this in more than one part for $130 per, it would be an indisputable priority. But Aniplex, and I don't know how many parts to this there will be. So I'm left with a conundrum here. It is a solid yes, please, no doubt about it. Whether it should be priority, what's your thought on that?
See, I think if any other studio had released it, it would probably be a priority for me.
Yes.
But
Yes.
because it's Aniplex, and because of how it's released, and because there's no necessary guarantee that we'll get a complete set
Yeah.
before it goes OOP,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot justify buying it for probably a 2 or 3 part series. So,
Right.
how many episodes are in it?
I think it said 13. So granted, you're getting as much here as you did with the original series, but still.
So, I mean, that's not.
And
a
I've
bad
heard
deal
good things about
comparatively.
this series.
Let me see. .anime. I mean, how much? Let's see. It's
Oh, you want to see how many seasons we're up to?
Yeah, Magia.
Magia Record, yeah.
Okay, Magia Record. You can see what resources we use.
Right.
So let's see. How many parts are likely? Well, it's only the one part.
So they just had Volume 1 just to mess with us.
Maybe. So.
Well, it could be as well that there's another one in production and it just doesn't have a beat on it yet.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see. Anything news-wise?
That confirmed second season. There you go.
Yep. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
It's reasonable for an Aniplex title, and maybe if I have the money, I'll grab it at that price. Because for that number of episodes, it's not terrible pricing-wise for Aniplex. But at the same time,
it could do worse.
At the same time, I have to wait until I have money for it, and if it goes out of print, then it has to go out of print. So I guess that means that a yes, please would be there.
See, I'm not willing to let this one go out of print, but I know how they do this thing. They'll probably let them go out of print, and then a year later put out the complete collection. Jerks. And I'd rather do that.
Or they'll do like with Dora's other series and just not bother anything. Oh God.
Well, that's the thing. That's a good illustration. They're letting that go out of print, but I'm sure there will be a complete series collection one day. But they're not letting us know that. Yeah. I think with this one, I'm going to have to go yes, please for right now. But it's really, again, like you said, if it was almost any other vendor, it would be a solid priority. Mm-hmm. It's just, yeah.
Aniplex does that to people. They make us make hard choices.
Yeah.
All right, so this one is Night of the Eagles, which is releasing on April 13th now. So I'm not going to cover it too much other than just to say it looks interesting. I thought it was Fall of the Eagles. There was a lot of confusion in relation to this. But it also has Mark Hamill and Christopher Lee, which does make me interested. With a $12.99 price tag, it makes me very interested. So I will give this a pretty strong freaking curious on that.
I'll go curious. That pairing, Hamill and Lee, I'm curious.
And we'll hit this a little bit harder next time.
Yeah. You gave me this, seriously?
I shouldn't have given you that one because I wanted that one.
No.
It must have gotten mixed up.
Yeah, I don't...
I'll tell you what. Let me have that one.
What's the next one you have?
This one's going to definitely be yours. So
right. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Do your thing.
So PG Psycho Goreman. Now, this one is one that is on Shudder, and I really need to see this film. I have heard so many fun things about this film. I have heard it is over the top. So Mimi and Luke unwittingly resurrect an ancient alien overlord who was entombed on Earth millions of years ago after a failed attempt to destroy the universe. They nicknamed the evil creature Psycho Goreman, or PG for short, and used the magical amulet they discovered to force him to obey their childish whims. Isn't long before PG's reappearance draws attention from the intergalactic friends and foes across the cosmos, and the rogues gallery of alien combatants converges in small-town suburbia, the battle for the fate of the galaxy. I have heard so many fun things. I've heard this is over-the-top, stupid fun, stupid schlock fun, and I want to see this. I've got Shudder. I just need to have an excuse. I just don't know if I could get Kim to watch it with me. But it just, everything here. I am going to get this event. It's going to be in my collection. I have to put it as a priority. It's going to be dragged down, but it's one that is on my list of I have to have this. It will be mine. Oh yes, it will be. Bam.
See, I have a very different reaction to that. I have a feeling I would not enjoy watching that. I like certain elements of it, and just because of those elements, I will give it a meh.
All right.
I would probably not throw it out if it were given to me, but I don't know that I would ever watch it.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to not only get it, but I'll have to get it on the Inside Movies Galore. Then we'll give you.
I don't know that I'll be. Well, you have to watch it first and make sure that I could watch it and be honest. You have to be honest. Okay.
All right, there you go.
The process. Okay, I have no idea what this one even is. This may have been one of the ones I ignored. Let me see here. The process. Sindel and his two best friends push the limits of their patience while maneuvering through their hometown and its local rap scene. Written and directed by Jake Fay. And That's all there is about it. Someone who has people in his family that are intrigued by this idea, it has some mild curiosity for me. I'd be willing to give it a low curious.
I can leave it there. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Pinocchio.
Pinocchio!
Jake covered this last time it came up. This one actually had a little bit of awards buzz.
Wait. Oh, never mind.
This is the one I think that came out. This is the 2020 film.
Wait, no. I was puzzled because I forgot that we're thinking a week ahead, and I thought for a minute that we were going to have to do it 3 weeks in a row. Never mind.
So yeah, this one I think wasn't this one up for a Golden Globe? I
can't recall, but it's actually considered to be in the mix for makeup and a couple other things.
Yeah, I've heard some award talk on it, so it might be worth checking out. At least enough to get me into that curious vein, which I think is where I rated it before. You might have rated it higher, but
I think we said curious. That sounds about right.
All right. Speaking of,
Speaking of, seriously, this time we're not joking. This time,
nope.
promising young woman, written and directed by Emerald Fennell, co-starring Carey Mulligan, who is a phenomenal actress. She really is. She has done some solid work in the past. Has been nominated, I think, once for an Oscar. For the movie, really, to kind of put her on the map in Education, which is a great film. She is also the missus of Marcus Mumford of Mumford & Sons, so that is some serious family talent that they have going on there. This film, I need to see. I've heard solid things about it. It was up for several Globes, and it is considered a front runner for actress and I believe for original screenplay.
Yeah,
is it original? And it's a couple others too, but definitely, and it's considered a front runner for director, which will make it one of the few. This could be the first year in Oscar history with 2 female directors up for the award. So that is pretty awesome, and I'm excited about that. I mean, it's pretty awesome that it's happening. It's pretty sad that it took so long, but you've also got Adam Brody in there. You've got Jennifer Coolidge, an American Pie connection going on there. Alison Brie. I need to see this. I very possibly will order it sight unseen to get it seen before the shows. And it just looks like one I'm probably going to want to have regardless. So, yeah, I'm going to actually call this one a priority.
You're going to be hearing about this a little bit later tonight. But yeah, I'm going to put this as a yes, please. I did not like this movie as much, but I can see where the acting is. To me, it's going to be between her and another one when it comes to the nomination, but I'm pretty sure she's going to be the one to get it. But I'm going to talk more about that tonight. So, any case, we'll move on. But it was a good movie. Was a very good movie. Positive ID. Julie Kenner, housewife. She has 2 names, 2 identities, 2 lives, and only 1 chance to set things right. Positive ID. Never assume anything. So again, I'm not gonna.
Another Kino release.
Yep.
Nice.
Kino. It's a thriller. Look into the sign. I know it looks like another rape revenge story. It could go. It could be okay. It might not be okay. It's more of a meh for me than anything else, especially when it comes to rape revenge stories, because you usually have to sit through the rape scene, and that's not usually something I prefer to watch.
No.
So I'm going to leave it at meh.
I'm pretty much going to go with meh too. Being a Kino release puts it at a high meh. I might go for it. Like if it's going out of print and it comes down to a really low price, I might grab it. But yeah.
All right.
All right, Running Time, featuring Bruce Campbell. Well, what more you need to know? It's featuring Bruce Campbell. But I don't know. This one, it looks like it could be fun. It's one of those kind of race against the clock thrillers, if I'm not much mistaken. Came out late 90s, you know. Carl is released from jail after serving a 5-year term and immediately sets about executing his next heist. The plan is relatively simple, but time is critical. However, he doesn't factor in bad luck or the incompetence of his accomplices. You gotta factor those things in, man. You just got to. You also got Art LaFleur as the warden. He's a fun character actor. I always enjoy seeing him and stuff. That's really all I have to go on that. I don't even think I'd heard of that. And I like Bruce Campbell. I don't even think I've heard of this movie.
It says it was inspired by Hitchcock's Rope.
Oh, well, that's a interesting thing. It says the film was shot entirely in order in 10 days, with the last day ending at 10 a.m. That's an interesting and weird little tidbit. It sounds interesting. It sounds fun. Sounds like it's worth a look. I'll give it a strong curious.
Agreed. Moving on. All right, Rad. Steelbook.
Woo!
This one was definitely on my list because this thing, okay, the first printing of Rad was one of those that became an extremely valuable Blu-ray because they had a small printing and it sold out and scalpers got a hold of a huge number of them. And I had the only reason why I have no interest in this movie. I don't really care for it. I've seen it and I don't really know why people want it so much, but now it's getting a Blu-ray Steelbook release. So if you really want this movie, jump on it. You don't know if it's going to run out again. The scalpers are probably going to be busy trying to grab this and flip it for like hundreds of dollars. So get it while you can.
Well, with all the controversy around Lori Loughlin nowadays, that's kind of, you got to wonder.
So, yeah, I mean, again, I was not interested in this one as much, but you got, it's basically, BMX Daredevil style movie.
Yeah.
But it got
It's a well-rated film.
Yeah, it's a well-rated film. I didn't care for
I'll give it curious.
Yeah, it's alright. Yeah. I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, Runaway Train. So we have Rebecca De Mornay, Eric Roberts, and John Voight. That's an interesting cast. I like the cover. That's a pretty nice cover there. Who's releasing this one?
Kino,
yeah. Yeah, so definitely a nice cover art there. Pretty decent special features for them. Tearing up the tracks at 100 miles per hour, Runaway Train features hair-raising footage and spectacular Oscar-nominated performances by John Voight and Eric Robert. Really? They were both nominated? How did I miss that part? Okay, I gotta look that up. I didn't see an Oscar history when maybe I was ignoring it. To 7.2 rating on IMDb. Yeah, nominated for lead actor for Voight, supporting actor for Eric Roberts, and film editing for Henry Richardson. All right, well, that makes this a definite yes, please. So does the fact that Kino's releasing it. I'll leave it at that.
I can't give it a yes, please, because it's an unknown commodity for me, but I can definitely give it a curious on it.
All right.
All right, moving on.
How about you super curious about this one?
Oh, yeah. Sheep and wool. Big deal. You can't pull the wool over their eyes. So good, doesn't even have a description. But that's okay. I really don't think I need a description for this. It
No.
looks like a Three Little Pigs type deal.
Wait. Oh.
Uh,
It's a, this is a, I don't know if this will factor in at all. Apparently it's a Russian film. Oh, wow.
you know, I will say this. I don't mind these train wreck animated films, but they're usually garbage. So,
Right.
I would give this a meh.
I was tempted to say, hell no, because it looked like it's for kids, like very much for kids. But the idea of a Russian animation does catch my attention. I'll give it a solid meh.
Yeah, it takes a very strong dislike to throw it down to hell no for me.
Exactly.
I'm willing to check out almost anything once. Almost.
Right. So this is for me, huh?
Yep.
So the horror film about a pandemic released in the midst of a pandemic. That sounds like good marketing there. So we got a film called Songbird. In 2024, a pandemic ravages the world and its cities, centering on a handful of people as they navigate the obstacles currently hindering society: disease, martial law, quarantine, and vigilantes. So, in other words, it's a documentary about 2024. If we had stayed with a certain individual for 4 more years. Huh?
Oh boy.
But you got Craig Robinson and Bradley Whitford and Peter Stormare. I didn't know all that. And Demi Moore. I didn't know all those people were in this. Just because I ignored it. I didn't even look at it. It just seems like a bad taste sort of thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Bad timing, definitely. Or great timing, I guess it depends. I can't deny I'm curious. Not a strong curious, but it's right on the border. Like, it's almost more of a meh, but it's right on the border.
I'll go with curious. I mean, yeah, it might be a documentary for this year. All right, so there's one here called Someday Isles. By the price point, I'm guessing it's a yes, it is a Gravitas.
Gravitas, yep.
Let's see. Someday Isles, a feature film visual album detailing the chaotic journey of pay attention, coming to terms with his life's purpose by embracing his destiny through self-actualization.
Okay.
I don't really have all that much interest in this, but I mean, if at this point Gravitas is so expensive that if somebody were to give it to me, I would keep it. So I'll give it a meh.
It looks to me like they're trying something ambitious there, so I'll go curious, but, whatever.
All right.
Okay. Taffin. Pierce Brosnan film. That's mostly what I know about this.
He looks all gruff on the cover.
He does indeed. I believe this was pre-Bond Pierce Brosnan, 1988. Yep. This is Brosnan during the Dalton years, if you will, which is weird. Right now I'm watching a show with Dalton during the Roger Moore years, where he plays a cattle baron. But in this one, an Irish tough guy debt collector is asked by his local community to help rid the town of developers bent on building a chemical plant on the outskirts of town. Those dang pesky developers. So you got Pierce Brosnan, Ray McAnally, Allison Doody, a bunch of other folks in there.
Duty.
I like Brosnan. I think he's a decent actor. He does the Pierce Brosnan bit pretty well. And it would be interesting to see him in an early pre-Bond kind of tough guy role. This was about the time Remington Steele came out, wasn't it, or a little bit later, maybe?
Yeah, around that time, yeah.
Yeah, so it could be fun. I'm not in a hurry to see it, but I'm curious.
I can go with curious. I would be curious to see what he looks like in that role. Much gruffer than his.
Yeah.
So here's one. I swear it's probably Gravitas again, but yes, it is. Called Stay. And again, not too bad. That's a normal release price of $20, not the $39 for the freaking DVD. Let's see. Hayden and Misha's marriage has been in a freefall for some time, and the couple's weekend getaway might just be the safety net they need. When the troubled couple arrives at a scheduled rental home with Hayden's best friend, Chris, and his wife, Nora, the trip appears to be off to a fun, relaxing start.
Clearly, they were not looking at the sky and feeling the rain coming down when they thought that.
But soon the foursome encounters Bo Lee, an odd caretaker living on the property, and they grow increasingly suspicious of the man and his possible sinister motives. After a dangerous secret amongst the friends begins to surface, with Bo Lee's actions becoming more and more bizarre, it appears clear that this weekend may be their last. Okay, this seems more like a kind of a thriller type deal than straight out horror. I am mostly just curious on it. I like the cover.
Yeah, I could go curious. I'm weakly curious, but I'm somewhat. No need to drag it down. The Mouth of the it's two films. No wonder there's two titles on there. I thought that was like a subtitle to the main film, and I just you see how much I paid attention. Two films by Pietro Marcello, The Mouth of the Wolf and Lost and Beautiful. Now, I looked up The Mouth of the Wolf. I guess I should look up Lost and Beautiful. I think The Mouth of the Wolf, if I'm remembering correctly, is supposed to be like a documentary, kind of almost a memoir kind of documentary, if that makes sense. Lost and Beautiful is a drama fantasy adventure. The foolish servant Pulcinella, I think is sent from the depths of Mount Vesuvius to present-day Campania to honor the last wishes of the poor shepherd Tommaso. His mission is to save a young buffalo called Sarchiapone. Pulcinella finds the animal at the royal former palace of Carditello, where Tommaso had looked after the Reuben Bourbon estate in the heart of the land of fires. He takes the buffalo off to the north, and the two servants, man and beast, travel through a beautiful and lost Italy. Their long journey's end does not bring what they were hoping for. That actually sounds pretty cool. I did not even realize that was part of the deal. Yeah, that one sounds pretty cool.
Artsy as
the other one, La Bocca del Lupo, The Mouth of the Wolf, is the story of the criminal Vincenzo and his transsexual lover Mary, who waited for him for many years while he served his prison sentence. And like I said, that one is a documentary. On the whole, this sounds like it could be an interesting twofer. Couple of Italian films from the sound of it. Documentary and a fantasy, an interesting pairing to be sure. I could go curious.
Yeah, that one sounds right up your alley. I'll go low curious on my end.
Right.
All right, let's see here. The Third Strike. Another Gravitas, uber expensive, what looks to be documented.
Wait, what was the price point?
$38.67.
Yeah, not as bad as some of theirs, but still.
In 1986, the Anti-Drug Abuse Act was passed by the U.S. Congress, which directly led to three strikes law. Because of this, a group of women started a declaration Decarceration Collective that has been working tirelessly to seek clemency for people serving inhumane life sentences for non-violent drug offenses. So, this one I think is a worthy documentary. It's one that I think probably deserves, subject-wise. I wish I could say that it was whether it was really good or not. I'd have to see it first, though. And,
well, according to Amazon, you got Senator Cory Booker as an actor. This one is one that I definitely am interested in the subject matter. I feel like that the approach to nonviolent drug offenders is well, it has not worked, and it needs to be dramatically altered. And if this is a good documentary, then definitely it's worth a look. Without seeing it, I can't say, but I would say even so, it's probably worth a look. So I'd give that a very strong curious.
All right. Yeah, I think if it turns out to be a good one, it could definitely get up to yes please standards pretty quickly.
Right.
All right.
Indeed.
So.
And where we are at.
I guess I'll get to
that one.
Actually,
Thundar.
This is how it's supposed to go. You were supposed to get the
Okay. So we have the War Wagon, which is notable for pairing John Wayne with Kirk Douglas. I mean, how many movies could claim that? You know? And it's a 1967 film, the story of a man who was shot, robbed, and imprisoned, who returns to steal a large gold shipment from the man who wronged him. The gold is transported in an armored stagecoach, the War Wagon. You also got Howard Keel in there, Keenan Wynn, Bruce Cabot, Joanna Barnes, Bruce Dern. That was what really caught my attention. You got not just Wayne and Douglas, but Bruce Dern. The cast, again, there's a lot of those movies this week where the cast definitely catches my interest. I'm not a big John Wayne fan, but I feel like as a movie fan, I should try to see most of his films. Douglas and Dern, though, are both pretty awesome. And this is one that I know by name. I mean, it's a fairly well-known film. I'll give it a... I can't go yes, please, but I would go a strong curious.
All right. Well, it's a Western. It's a John Wayne Western, and it's one I haven't seen before, so therefore it's a meh. All right.
Dave would probably call blasphemy on that.
Oh, Dave would call blasphemy on both of our picks on some of these mehs. So, Thundar the Barbarian. I don't know about you, but this was all over the freaking TV when I was a kid.
I have no memory of it.
It's one of those Hanna-Barbera fantasy.
Right.
This one was one of those fantasy caveman series,
right.
And it was fairly decent. It's kind of like a Conan the Barbarian feel to it.
Right.
It was decent enough. I liked it as a kid. Nostalgia has me bound to talk about it. It's been pushed back to April 6th, just in a short time period. Oh, look, the Pebbles and Bam Bam show is also going to be released.
I have no memory of that either.
You are lucky. That one and a pup named Scooby-Doo. Everything just came in. All right. Well, any case, for those of you who like that kind of old school animation, it was fine. Old school sword and sorcery. Decent enough. Nothing I'm going to put like at high ranking, but definitely I would put it at. It's okay. I mean, if I saw it cheaply, I'd probably grab it up.
I give it a curious as well.
All right. Boom.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have Peter Bogdanovich's "What's Up, Doc," a comedy starring Barbara Streisand and Orion O'Neill. With some other folks as well. I don't remember offhand, but I'm going to look that up briefly. I have long been aware of this as a film that needs to be seen. I read a book back in the day. I can't remember if it was, I don't think it was by Bogdanovich, but it like featured him heavily in the story. They talked a lot on his work. I've seen a couple of his films, including one that came out the year after this, which starred Ryan O'Neal, called Paper Moon, which is a favorite of mine. I absolutely love that movie, and I very much enjoyed The Cat's Meow, and I've seen a couple others. This one is the accidental mix-up of 4 identical plaid overnight bags leads to a series of increasingly wild and wacky situations, as tends to happen when 4 different people have identical plaid bags. But you have Barbra Streisand, Ryan O'Neal, Madeline Kahn, Kenneth Mars, Austin Pendleton, Liam Dunn, Don Hillerman, Randy Quaid, M. Emmett Walsh. Again, the cast alone, but the fact that this is a Bogdanovich film that is highly regarded, it is considered one of the all-time classic comedies. I will get this movie. The fact that it just came out after I just finished putting together a list for our movie group that featured this film on the list, it just seems like perfect timing. I don't know that I'll snap it up at the list price or wait, but it is still, I'm going to call it a priority.
Did it win an Oscar? I can't remember if you said
It did not. It was nominated for a Golden Globe.
I don't know enough about this to say.
Actually, it was nominated for a Golden Globe for Most Promising Newcomer for Madeline Kahn.
And that list that you had didn't even have things like Clerks or a couple other things that I would be... I'm not even sure it was reflective of my interests at all. So, I will have to say that I can't go on that as as an indicator. I'll give it a curious, but that'll put it as a yes, please in the middle. So, you know.
Did you ever see Paper Moon?
I did. It was decently well.
Yeah. That was an excellent film. I thought it was good. Apparently he does a lot of acting. I'd forgotten about that.
And
but
here we are again. This is actually a much cheaper price than the re-release was on Amazon last time I found it, if you can find it. But Titanic is getting a repackaging. So, you know, they got rid of... Basically, they're repackaging it without the DVD, and they're charging $5 more, typically. But...
as they do.
As they do. Good film. I need to upgrade from my DVD one of these days.
I think this one was up for a couple of Oscars.
Yeah, maybe one or two. It's worth seeing. I mean, if you don't have it, I'm not going to say that this is the must-buy version of it, but I think it does have the restoration to it, which was good. The 3D version's $75. To me, I'm kind of in... If you don't have it, it's a priority. But, you know, it's not like there's a shortage of ways to find it. Trust me.
No.
Titanic is where you find it.
Indeed. It is, like you said, there are no shortage of options. There is no need to hop on this particular release unless you really love that cover art or you just really want Blu-ray only.
$14.99
or you just
not
go
terrible.
get it from Target. What's that?
And the Target's $14.99, which ain't terrible.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I mean, it is a great film. It's overrated, but it's a great film, and it's an essential. It really is. If only for the extreme weird oddity of a movie that's ostensibly a romance being directed by James Cameron. That just
I liked his other romance, Piranha 2: The Spawning.
Indeed.
So,
Well, you know, spawning's in the title.
yes. So where do you put that one?
That's a priority.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Almost done.
Next up, Young Hearts, which stars Anjani Taneja Azar and Quinn Liebling. And from what I recall, because I looked this up briefly and then promptly moved on to something else, I think it's about a young lady who, Harper enters high school and sparks a relationship with her brother's best friend, Tilly. While she deals with social blowback, the older Tilly is congratulated, setting up a very modern love story in the age of Time's Up and Me Too. So, a Me Too era high school romance. Let's put it that way. I'm vaguely curious, but that's about it. I'm not going to go out of my way for this one, but
Okay.
I would certainly wouldn't turn it down if it was given to me. Yeah.
I will go with meh on it.
Okay.
Anything with the title Me Too era romance, I don't know how to even take that. So I'm just gonna go with. I'll check it out if someone gives it to me or I see it at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah, about that for $1.
All right.
Okay.
Tower of Evil.
Not so sure on this one.
They came, they saw, they died.
Of course they did.
I like that. That cover is pretty cool. I like that. It was Night of Terror with the fiendish creature on the loose. A Me Too era romance. Not just
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure.
From the art producer Richard Gordon. Let's see here. Comes one of the most brutal and mysterious stories ever to be filmed. Our Evil is a haunted tale set in an area around a deserted lighthouse and a fog-shrouded Snape Island. Severus Snape. The terror begins.
I heard that right. Snape Island, huh?
The terror begins when a nude, crazed woman slaughters a sailor who was visiting the island. When she is taken back to civilization, an ancient relic is discovered and the expedition is mounted to solve the mystery of the island, which leads to a series of psychosexual murders, starring Jill... whatever. Any case, it looks interesting. This is one of those that Dave would definitely put as a priority. We were talking about he'd be upset with that. He'd be upset with me giving it anything but a priority. But I can't do that. I can't do that, Dave. So we're gonna put it in there. There you go. So, well, curious. It's going to be curious. Yeah.
The description of it being one of the most brutal films does not particularly appeal to me. Everything else is enough to keep it out of hell no territory, so I'll go meh.
All right. Actually, Mo probably also would be in that same vein of,
Right.
It needs to be up a higher.
Okay.
Because Mo is who I was thinking about with that big box set. Gosh, what was it?
Right.
I think he would really like that dungeon box set.
Right.
Same with Dave. I think both of them.
We got a lot of mess this week. I just realized.
That's what happens when we don't call the herd.
Celine and Julie Go Boating. This is our Criterion release this week. Filmed by Jacques Rivette. I think it's properly Celine et Julie vont en bateau. Phantom Ladies over Perry. A mysteriously leaked pair of young women find their daily lives preempted by a strange boudoir melodrama that plays itself out in a hallucinatory parallel reality. That actually sounds like a fun description. I have no idea if that's anywhere close to what Criterion would describe it as. But it's one of those films, there's quite a few of them that Criterion puts out, and I look at it and I go, well, I don't have any real objection to eventually getting that, but I'm not really that excited about it either. I feel like this is a film I have heard about on the, along the way. They describe set out to rewrite the rules of cinema in the spirit of pure play, movie making as an anything goes romp through the labyrinths of imagination. The film is one of the most exuberantly inventive and utterly enchanting films of the French New Wave, etc., etc. Allusions to Lewis Carroll. And there's some decent special features there. Yeah, again, this is something I feel like I could get. I'm not going to jump out and try to get it as sooner than later. I'm not going to be chomping at the bit for this one, but it's on their list. If I could get it for less than my target price of $20 per for Blu-ray for Criterion, like let's say I find it on eBay for $12, I'd get it for that. So yeah, I would say curious.
Yeah, you're a hallucinatory parallel.
Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and say yes, please, because I know you're going to bring it down anyway. So,
well, it sounds okay. Again, I need to see it. Probably, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I think I'll go back to my original response. You're a hallucinatory parallel reality. So I'll give that a curious. So yes. I rarely give anything Criterion.
And then, well, at least we're going to end with a bang.
So we're going to end with something there. We covered one of the ones I have as one of my lower rated Ghibli films to one of my higher rated Ghibli films. Whispers of the Heart. Of course, getting the Steelbook release. I actually like this cover better than The Cat Returns. But the two definitely share a link in the character of the cat himself. And this is a beautiful finding yourself tale about this girl who doesn't really know what she wants to do in life. And comes across this young boy who is a musician who also wants to make violins. They form a bond over their loves and their general interests that becomes something slightly more. It is a beautiful, whimsical tale told only the way Ghibli can tell it.
Indeed.
And because of that, I still consider it one of my favorite. It has an amazing soundtrack. Both the original, both the original Japanese and the English dubs were amazing, and for that alone, it is well worth checking out. I like it on both. So, with that being said, I would consider Whispers of the Heart actually a priority. If you don't have this, you should get it. Maybe not in this form, but you should be getting it one way or the other, and it should be on a Blu-ray regardless. So whether you get this on Blu-ray in this form or Blu-ray in another form, it needs to be gotten on Blu-ray.
I concur. It was Yoshifumi Kondo was the director who died not long after he made the film, right? Wasn't it? Am I remembering that correctly?
I think so.
He was going to be one of the luminaries of Ghibli. If this film was any indication, and that was definitely a loss. Felt keenly, but this is a phenomenal movie, and I love it. And yeah, it is absolutely a priority.
Oh yeah, I love pairing the two. This one and The Cat Returns pair very well together.
Right.
So, well, we got this as fairly decent. We got a decent number of strong ones. And, of course, doing everything leaves us with a lot of meh. And a heck of a lot of curious. But, that's what happens when we don't weed out the weak, which would have been, most of these have probably been down. Well, no, actually, a number of these would have made the list already, so I can't.
Yes, if you.
Yeah, I can say I know this one was on your list.
Yeah, that one and War Wagon were definitely on my list.
This one would have been on your list by accident because it was originally in the writing. Let's see, that one would have been on the list. That one would have been on the list. That one would have been on the list because of terrible curiosity. That one, and that one. So the majority of these would probably have been still here. So with that being said, I hope you all have enjoyed this. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and do a good share. And we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. Goodbye.